You're listening to Storage Nerds Podcast, where we unravel the best-kept secret of the real estate investing world, the storage industry. Join the grassroots guru in self-storage, Stacy Rossetti, in insightful discussions about finding, funding, and running these spaces, allowing you to yield the highest returns possible. Get your foot in the door on self-storage and discover how to properly purchase facilities, negotiate with sellers, and close the deal without worries. Start unpacking that investment wisdom with Stacy right now.
We're upgrading, and I'm really excited. We did not make it for this week. I really wanted to have it for this week, but I got one of these like vibe screens. Does anybody know what this vibe screen? I'm like so excited about this thing. The stand just came in, but I didn't get a chance to like set it up and stuff. But as of next week, I'm going to stand up and I'm going to be teaching y'all. All right. So I'm really excited about that. So we're gonna have a different look starting next week. We'll have a different look for all the sessions. Try to get a little bit more professional looking. Maybe, I don't know. It's me. And really teach. And then Ariellen is, it works with me. She's community manager. She's marketing manager. She and I have been working on trying to organize the structure of the Monday nights. So for everybody that's new here, you guys, I teach every Monday night for free. All right, so you can just hang out with me every Monday night and we'll go over something storage related. And then we're going to do, so starting this year, we're going to try to organize a little bit better. So the first Tuesday of every month, it's going to be like self-storage investing 101. All right, so it'll be just like something like, how do you get started? What are the first 10 steps? How do you, as a beginner, how do you get started? All right, so that's gonna be the first Tuesdays of every month. And then, if you guys follow me, you guys all know that I teach find them, fund them, run them. Right. So first up, obviously, is finding them and learning deal analysis, putting your offers in, getting it under contract. That's find them. And then fund them. He's like, where do I get the money to buy these things? How do I purchase these things? All right. So we talk about that. We talk about raising money, partnering, owner financing, creative deal structures, things like that. And then we have running is obviously management, all things management. So getting it up and running, transferring ownership, onboarding the facility, and then automating and systematizing it so that it can be like true passive income. All right, so those are like that's kind of how we teach internally, and that's how I teach all my students, my coaching students. And so what we're going to do for the Monday nights is start doing that as well too. So it'll be the first Tuesdays is like beginner investing, self-storage investing 101. And then on the second Tuesdays will be find them. The third Tuesday will be fund them, and then the last Tuesday will be run them. And if there happens to be an extra Tuesday, then we will do like a bonus session, and I will have a guest speaker, probably one of my students, come on and talk about one of their deals or something like that. Okay, and we'll have them come on. So that's going to be the new structure. So hopefully you guys took note of that. And then if there's something in particular that you want to learn, all you have to do is just email us, email questions@stacyrossetti.com. Actually, there's after every session, every Monday night session, everybody that signs up gets an email with like a feedback survey. So if you could fill that out and then maybe give us a couple of ideas of what you want to learn, we can implement those into our calendar, because we're trying to get a little bit more structured, instead of me just like coming on and just doing whatever. Okay. So stay tuned for that. And let's see what else. And so, so the doors to Storage Nerds opened yesterday. All right. So you guys are all on my list. So everybody here should have gotten an email letting you know that the doors are open, and then also a text message today. And you'll get either an email or a text message for the next 2 weeks. Every couple of days, you'll get this because the doors are open, and I only open the doors January, May, and September. And I only take 20 students during that time, right? And then the goal of those 20 students is to take you from like stage 1 to stage 2. Stage 1 is finding a facility, getting it under, learning how to do deal analysis and getting it under contract. And then stage 2 is onboarding the facility, right? So within those 90 days, within the next 6 months, if you join the coaching program, you should be able to get a facility under contract and close it and own it. That's the goal. Okay, so if that's something that you want to do for this year, if that's your goal to own a storage facility for this year, then I highly recommend that you go to storagenerds.com and you fill out the application, and then you set an appointment with me to talk. Now, I also wanted to bring up that so this is one of the first things that everybody should know about self-storage investing. All right. And if y'all are newbies, put in the chat that you're a newbie, that you have no idea about what I'm doing right now. It's 2023 and I just want to learn self-storage. Introduce yourself. If you own a storage facility, then, put into the chat and, put into the chat that you own one. But because I'd like to know kind of if there's a mix or if it's just all newbies here. But so in order to get started in self-storage investing, the truth is, okay, and if this is about any commercial real estate property, really any property, but really commercial real estate, it's expensive to buy storage facilities. Okay, so storage, like commercial real estate is not like residential. Like you don't there's no money down, and there's no like close in 10 days or fast cash close or anything like that. So I always tell, and I see a lot of people are typing, so thank you very much, all these newbies, everybody's around the country. Commercial real estate is expensive. Commercial real estate is expensive. There's like that. That's why I have find them, fund them, run them, right? The 3 most important parts of commercial real estate is like finding the deal and knowing whether or not this deal is a good deal, right? And that's a lot of people, that's just their big things. Like, I don't know if it's a good deal or not. So that means that you need to learn commercial deal analysis. Okay. The second step is the funding part. And I'm going to tell you, the funding part is probably one of the most important parts because commercial real estate is expensive. I was talking to a student earlier, and they want to buy their 4th facility. They bought 3 this last year and they want to buy their 4th one. And and they use their own money for the first 3, or they got them owner finance. And actually getting something owner financed is a great way to, but even with owner financing, you still need money to put down. I mean, nobody's going to 100% owner finance something, right? Now you can probably do 10%, a lot of times, so the student that I talked to just had this where am I going to get the money? I'm all out of my own money, right? And so if you want to leverage, if you want to become like Stacy and own like 13 different storage facilities, or if you have to learn how to leverage other people's money, right? You have to learn how to raise money. And this is one of the most important parts of commercial real estate. I just want you to know that if you go through the application process and you say no, I don't have any money right now, then it's going to be hard for you to buy a storage facility. It just is, right? So your job, if you're listening to me right now and you're like, I ain't got no money, I want to get into storage, I ain't got no money, then the first thing that you should really be doing is assessing yourself. Why do I not have any money right now? All right, why? And is it because I'm spending too much money? I'm not saving money. I'm not good with my money. And then you can also ask yourself okay, obviously, obviously I don't have the money that I need right now to buy storage. So what that means is there's 2 things. Number 1, I either have to learn how to wholesale self-storage, or I need to find somebody that has money and they'll give it to me. That's raising money in order to do commercial property. Because the truth is that commercial property is expensive. Gone are the days where you can buy a property for $100,000 or $200,000, unless you want 20 units or, even 20 units. I'm not even seeing at $100,000. Only 20 units are $150,000 right now, a lot of times. So you have to know that commercial real estate is expensive, and really good deals are expensive. So if you don't have money to get started, and if you don't have money to buy storage, then there's two things that you need to do. You need to learn how to raise money. You need a wholesale so that you can make money, right? Excuse me, you need to be that middle person between the buyer and the seller. You find a facility and then you put it under contract and then you sell it to somebody else and you make that cut in the middle, or you need to raise money, right? Or you need to raise money. And so, so as you go through the application process and like storage nerds, I mean, essentially people that don't have money, they're going to have a really, really hard time doing this. All right. So I say, get your credit in order, get your savings in order, and get out and start finding people that will work with you. And actually, the truth is, everybody wants to buy storage facilities right now. Everybody. So if you know somebody that has money, right, you should go to them and say, look, I really want to buy a storage facility. I want to own storage, but I don't have enough cash to do that. Would you be interested in partnering with me? And you could be the money person and I'll be the asset manager. And then we can split the deal. And I'll split the deal, 80-20, and I'll only get 20% or 75-25, and I'll only get this much money. But the truth is in situations like that, it's just you just use it as a lesson, like a learning lesson. All right. And and that way you can buy storage. All right. So again, I hope you apply to storage nerds, and then I hope you really take to heart that you got to learn how to raise money. All right. And my job, we have find them, fund them, run them. In our company, I am the funding part, right? So I teach people how to invest in self-storage. I'm a coach, I'm a teacher, but I'm really like the pitch person is what I am. I'm pitching. It's all I'm doing is like pitching to investors all the time. And I started doing, and the reason I did this is because when I started in real estate, 12 years ago, in 2010, 2011, luckily I had a coach that told me, he said, you have to learn how to raise money. Actually, what happened was I hired a consultant. And this is the truth. So I was doing, I was rehabbing homes. For the first 5 years, I rehabbed homes. And I was doing really well. I had done in 1 year, 14 rehabs or something. So I was doing pretty good. But I wanted to take it to the next level. So I hired a coach. And he sat me down and he said, Stacy, he said, okay, tell me exactly what this is, our first session. He's like, Stacy, tell me exactly, what do you do? And I was like, I'm a flipper. I flip homes. And he was like, no, you're not a flipper. And I was like, I renovate homes. I do residential redevelopment. And he was like, no, you don't do residential redevelopment. And I was like, I'm a contractor. And he was like, no, you're not a contractor, Stacy. I was like, well, tell me, what am I? I don't know, what am I? And he's like, if I tell you this, Stacy, you have to take this to heart. You have to implement and execute what I tell you. And I was like, if I tell you what you are and what your job is, will you implement this and execute this? And I was like, just tell me. Yes, I'll do it. And he's like, you are a fundraiser. That's it. Your job is to raise money. If you want to take it to the goals that you had written right here, all these goals, if you want to take it to the next level, then you have to realize that you are a fundraiser. That's it. You're a fundraiser. And if you don't do that, then you are never going to achieve the goals that you want. And so when he told me that, it just really I was just like, oh my gosh, he's right. And then I started going back and I started everything that I did, everything. And you guys all know because y'all follow me. Everything that I've done for the last 10 years, because that was literally 10 years ago, is all about raising money. All right. And 10 years ago, I had no idea that I was going to get into self-storage. I mean, we did 100 homes in 5 years, and I raised enough money to do that. And then I got into storage, and I had no idea I was going to get into storage. And then, and I took those, like the last 5 years, 6 years that we've been doing this, I just pitch and pitch and pitch. And I'm talking to investors. I talk to at least 3 to 5 investors every day, right? And obviously it takes me, I've been doing this 10 years, so it takes time, but it started actually my very first pitch. My very first pitch was to my neighbor. So I was walking my dog. So I used to live like on 10 acres, and I was walking my dog. And we had like two trails. I don't live there anymore, but we had 2 trails. It was like the short trail and the long trail. The short trail was kind of like around our property. And then the long trail kind of went into our neighbor's property, because the way it was like there was like 3 10-acre lots. And then I had one neighbor over here and one neighbor over here. And we all befriended each other and became like family and stuff. We would just walk in between each other's properties and stuff. And so I was walking over on my neighbor's property, and he was out like working the land and doing his thing or whatever. And he saw me, he's like, hey. And I walked over, and he was like, what are you? And I had just came back from the coaching session. I just came back from, learning how to raise money and do stuff like this. And he was like, I was like, yeah, I just came back from this coaching session. And and basically I'm like learning how to raise money so that I can, go out and like do flips and do more flips and stuff. And do more flips. And he's like, wow. He's like, that's interesting. He's like, tell me more about it. So I started going off and telling him about it and everything and all I learned. And he was just like, I'm really interested in that. I'm like, really? And she's like, I'd be interested in maybe working together with you. And I was like I really was just like talking about what I was doing, and stuff. And that was my very first pitch. He's like, why don't we sit down and we discuss it? So I came back and I did like a little presentation on my computer, and I sat down and I went over everything. He was so nice, and he just listened to me. And that was 10 years ago. And he has been lending with me ever since. He started out with $200,000. And now he gives me $2 million. And over the course of 10 years, he's made $1 million off of me. He started out with the rehabs, and he moved over to the storage facilities. And that's from my neighbor that I was just like walking my dogs and talking to him about it. Okay. So, and, so if I can do it, so if I can do that, if I can just go out and talk to people about what I'm doing, especially, I'm going to tell you all, especially storage, because everybody wants to get into, if you're in real estate, like you want to get into storage. Okay. So what I do, and what you should be doing is using that to your advantage. So if you're the person here and you're like, I want to get into storage, and I either have money and I can go out and do it on my own because I've got money, I don't need to get out there and pitch right now. I don't need to because I've got the money. Or I don't have the money, and I, either going to wholesale, or I need to find somebody that has money. No matter what, you should always be talking about storage, because I'm telling you, everybody wants to get into storage somehow right now. I'm very blessed to be in this industry and have already been in this industry for 5-6 years. And I'm actually a newbie. I mean, there's people that have been doing it for a while, and they're doing way better than I am. And so I want you guys to use this to your advantage, is that, hey, I'm thinking, like, when you're talking to anybody, it's like, hey, I'm like looking into storage. I'm really looking into storage, and I'm learning how to find deals. I'm learning how to fund them. I'm learning how to run and manage storage. This is my goal for 2023. And and then just start telling people that, and being like, confident, like, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to buy a storage facility this year. I'm in the process right now of learning how to do it. And the more people that you tell that to, I'm telling you, you will easily be able to find people that have money, and it doesn't matter how much, but you just talk and say, like, would you be interested in partnering and doing something with me? Because I'm going to tell you, a lot of people want to get into storage right now. Okay. Obviously you guys are here, so you guys are the same way. And so good. So that's like my 2 cents on find them, fund them, run them. Our schedule is set up now this way. So it's going to be self-storage 101 the first Tuesday of every month. Find them, fund them, run them the next Monday. Sorry, Tuesdays, the first Monday of every month. And then find them, fund them, run them is the next couple of weeks. And then if there happens to be a 5th week, we'll have a guest speaker, like one of my students come on and talk. And in the meantime, if you are interested, apply for the Storage Nerds coaching program. I have like 2 weeks to talk to you, and then I'll close the doors again, and I'll help those people find some facilities. My goal for this year is to help 25 people buy a storage facility. That's my goal. So it's kind of a big goal, actually, But I really want, I want people to be successful at this, Thus, that's why I have the coaching program. So that's that. So now self-storage 101, I wanted to get into just real quick, something that you can do to find them, fund them, and run them, just to give you a quick overview of how this all works. Okay, because I know there's a lot of new people here today. So I wanted to pull up, I'm going to share my virtual assistant's step-by-step process on how we find deals. All right, so remember I told you, find them, fund them, run them. I'm the fund them part. And then the run them part is my husband. He manages all of our facilities and the whole team that does everything for all of the facilities. And then the find them part, I manage my virtual assistants, but essentially my virtual assistants are the ones that find the facilities. And so if I can teach people how to find facilities, then I could definitely teach a virtual assistant to do that. So why not just hire 10 virtual assistants and just have them call all around the country and see if they can find storage facilities, right? So that was my thought process. And then we help our students to find deals, is what we did. We just found a deal for a student, and he put it under contract. It's in Texas. Not in Texas. It's in Arkansas. It's in Texarkana. We're on the Arkansas side. So that's kind of what we do, is we help our students find deals. So I don't even really do the find them part. All my virtual assistants do that. And then I do the funding part, and my husband does the running part, just so you guys know kind of how our company is set up, how everything is set up. Okay. But so my virtual assistants, what I did is I asked them, I said, you guys, every single one of you, I want you to make me your 10-step process. I want you to write every single step that you do down in order to find a deal. And so they all did this. And then we have one virtual assistant. Her name is Kim, and she's kind of like the admin of all of the other virtual assistants. And she does skip tracing and stuff like this. Eventually one day I'll have her come. Maybe she'll be a guest speaker, and I'll have her come and talk about what she does, because she does skip tracing and stuff. But she kind of went through everybody's processes, and then she compiled and she made it into one big process. So I'm going to kind of show that to y'all today, and then you guys can at least get an idea of what the process is, right? And we may not go through all of it, but at least it'll give you an idea. Let me share my screen. All right, so this is kind of what they put together, and this, you guys could take notes and you guys could see kind of how it is. But the first step, now I teach, there's there's a ridiculous amount of ways to find storage facilities and purchase them. Okay, what we do internally is we build the list ourselves. So you guys all know that have been following me, that we go directly to the owner. So I do not look on Crexy, I do not look on LoopNet, MLS, anything like that for storage. We only go to the owners directly. And the reason why is because you get a way better deal if you do that. Every storage facility that I've ever closed on, the owner was not thinking about selling, right? And because of that, you build this trust and you build this relationship, and then they're willing to do more things for you and stuff. So for one instance, in Florida, we closed on a facility in Florida, and the owner was not thinking about selling, and then we called him up, and he's like, I'll take an offer, sure, And so then we put the offer in, and I really started, went over there, met him, really started getting to know him. Super nice guy. And, and so we talked to him quite often. And then he, we got really nice, we got really to have a very good, close relationship. And he's like, he's like, there's a piece of land on the back end. He's like, I really don't need that. He's like, why don't I just throw that in for you? And I was like, really? Yeah. I was like, I'll take it. And he's like, yeah, we'll just throw that in. So he threw like a half an acre of land in on the property. He's like, I'll just throw that in for you, and you ain't gonna get that when you talk to a realtor, right? They're not gonna come in and throw stuff in for you, to close the deal. But many, many times on many of the deals that I've closed, and for students as well too, like the owners were just so friendly and stuff, and you build a relationship with them, that they just work with you and they want to like help you and stuff. And that's kind of stuff that I do. So that is why I like going directly to the owners. Okay. So when I say I go directly to the owner, that means you have to build the list, right? You have to build the list. You have to build your own list. And you could go out, you could buy a list if you wanted to, but honestly, we've bought the list before and it's just really not as good because like there's so many changes and stuff going on. Now, remember, I've been over this several times, and we use Crexy as well on the back end to look up comps and look up owner's information. So if you do not have access to Crexy, you are missing out on everything. So Crexy has like an investor site, and then you get the information of like every every owner of every property in the United States. You get that, so you get all their owners information and everything, so like here's storage facilities, in, let's see, where are we here? Yes, like I don't want to do Salt Lake City. Let's do something small. Here's Pocatello right here. There's 4 here. So right here, there's the 600,000, a $258K one. I think these are, see, these are all storage. So like, let's just click on this $600,000 one. And then you could scroll down here. This is the storage facility here. You could see that looks like a storage facility, right? Storage facilities are like long, skinny buildings. Now, in primary markets, they may be like buildings, but typically everywhere else they look like this, right? And you can see the history, but here's the ownership, right? Here's this one right here. Michael Tolman and Tony, Michael and Tony, they both own this together, right? And then you could click on it and then it gives you like their information, their phone number. And sometimes it even gives their email addresses. See, look, all these email addresses do you have right here. So, I mean, if you're not using Crexy, you are missing out. So if you want to use Crexy, then I highly recommend that you get a demo from Grant. Grant is like the person, I guess, what's the name of the people? Like the person that you talk to, like for me, like my point person. And he will do a demo for you and show you how to use, and this is only just one part of Crexy, but I want to show you that we are like all up on Crexy right now with storage facilities. And then you can always look at all the other stuff as well too. And then that way you can get the owner's information and call them and see if they want to sell. Okay, so you're building the list not only through Crexy, but you can also get onto Google Maps, right? So this is how all my virtual assistants do it as well too. So okay, like I'm interested in buying a storage in Crawford, and so then they'll just say storage, Crawford here, right? And then you could also just pull it up, and then you could just call all these people here, and you could talk to them, and then you could look all these up, and you could even look their phone numbers up in Crexy. So we do like, and just like what it says right here, like we are searching your target location using Google Maps and virtual driving. So this is what my VAs are doing. Add to that Crexy, getting into Crexy and getting the owner's information, right? So this is it. They need to get the contact information, the name, the phone number, the email, the website. We do that using Crexy now. We've tried all different kinds of ways, and Crexy is the way to go. Okay. And actually, the one thing I love about Crexy too is that you have access to like every property. every property in the United States and all their information. And it's only like $100 a month. I mean, how powerful is that? I mean, for $100 a month, you have access to all this data. So highly recommend it. Okay. So that's it. So those are the two ways I'm going to go over now. Okay, is really like Crexy and then Google Maps, virtual driving through, and then building your list. We use Pipedrive to build our list. You do not have to use Pipedrive, but you can if you want to. I think like it's like $50 a month or something. And Pipedrive is a sales software, like a management. It's not sales management software where like, you can keep track of sales and stuff. You can win and lose sales and keep track of it, but you can keep track of all your leads is when you, and obviously for us, I mean, because we're putting 5 to 10 offers, 5 to 10 offers a weekend or even more. I sent them for like 15 offers in. And I have one VA that over the course of the last 2 months, she put 15 offers in. I mean, that is a lot of offers, right? So we manage that through Pipedrive, but you can just have a spreadsheet and just manage your leads. The key to leads is follow-up. I'm telling you, the key is the follow-up, right? So, I mean, our VAs, they're calling like probably 500 facilities a month, and then recalling them again over the course of the next 3 months, right? And then after that, we say, okay, let's take, and then what we do after that is we just switch the VA out, and then I put another VA in, and then they try, right? Is what we do. So I just want to say, and then also, I was going to show you too. I wonder if this is here, not this one. Let me see. Oh yeah, here it is. So look at this. Like this is like a summary report of one of my VAs. And this is what they did. I want you guys to get an idea. This is Christian, and just get an idea of how many calls that they're making. I mean, I'm telling you, finding a facility is not easy. It's not easy. You have to put a lot of work in. It takes execution, implementation, and execution. My word for 2023 is execution. If you want to buy a storage facility, you have to grind. I'm telling you, because it's just like, there's a lot of competition. Everybody wants to get in storage. I told you, everybody's interested in storage, right? So it's going to take work and effort. So look at this. He started in May of 2022. Okay, to December of 22. And he's gotten very good. This guy, he's very good. He started out a little rough and we trained him and stuff. It takes, it takes a little while to train, to train people and do it. But you could see he did like 1,231 leads, 1,231 leads from May to December. And he made 3,400 calls. Just think about that. So, and, just think about that number. It's like triple the amount, a quarter of the leads. So 25%, is that 25 or 30%? I guess it's like 25 to 30%, right? Of the calls that you make are going to become leads. All right. You can see that now, 3,442 to 1,231. And then how many hot deals did we get? So we got hot leads, right? So these are the ones that are like, yeah, I want like, they're like, yeah, I'll take an offer, or yeah, right? So you can see that we had like 34 out of 3,400 calls, only 34 wanted an offer. All right. And out of those 34, only 20 actually gave us all the information that we need in order to send over an offer. Because you need like so much information, right? In order to know whether or not it's a good deal. And out of that, we got one under contract. So I just want to visually give you an idea of how much work it takes in order to find a deal. Okay. It takes a lot of work. What do you guys think about that? Put it into the chat. I would love for your thoughts on like, oh my gosh, this is freaking me out, Stacy, or like, yeah, I'm going to do this. 2023 is going to rock. I'm going to buy me a storage facility. I try to get this like very clear to all my students that, the first, until you get a facility under contract, it takes a lot of work and effort. And then guess what? When you get it under contract, it takes a lot of work and effort to close it. And then guess what? After you close it, it takes a lot of work and effort to close it. I mean, to manage it. And then after about 6 months of owning a facility, then you're like, it's easy peasy lemon squeezy, right? But to get to that point is a lot of work and effort. What's the word? What did I say my word of the year is? Put it into the chat. I would love to know if people were actually listening to me. What's the word of the year? And are you going to actually do that? What is your goals? How many calls are you going to make? How many leads are you going to find? How many offers are you going to put in? Right? That's the goal. I would love to hear that in the chat. Okay. All right. And let me see what else. Okay. So that's building the list, right? Getting the information. Cold calling, we talked about that, right? So now you got to call. You actually got to call and talk to them. Oh my gosh. What? And, and ask them if they're interested in getting an offer. You never, ever want to ask anybody if they want to sell. You ask them if they're interested in getting an offer. Because guys all know with my deal analyzer, hopefully you guys purchased it when I mailed it out, but with the deal analyzer, what we're doing is we're sending out an offer letter that has 4 different offers in it. And they're only expecting 1 offer, but we're sending 4 different offers, right? And then once they get those 4 offers, they're going to either be like, or whatever, or they're going to be like, you know what? Wow. Like, I need to start really thinking about this. How much money am I going to make? Should I do something like this? And I'm telling you, over the course of the next year, I mean, actually, everybody wants offers. Getting it from offer to under contract, that's really the hard part, because you have to get the number that everybody's happy with, right? That's the skill. That's the hard part. And but even if you're just putting offers in, I mean, just like Christian here, he's getting really good at putting in offers, running deal analysis. And I think this year for him, he's going to do very, very well. And so, yeah, it's going to take you time and effort to do this. So give yourself the patience to learn how to do this. But ultimately, in the end, and I only bought 1 storage facility in my first year and 1 storage facility in my second year. All right. Then in my third year, I bought 3. All right. So you've got to give yourself time to learn, time to really execute, and time to and I always tell everybody, slow and steady wins the race. Slow and steady wins the race. Okay. All right. So what else? Let me see. Go back to this list here. Yeah. So now we're cold calling and we're talking to them. Maybe next week I'll talk about script. That's what I'll do, is I'll do scripts for cold calling. Remind me to do that, Ariel. Okay, scripts for cold calling. And then we'll get into cold calling and what do you say when you talk to the owners, right? What questions do you ask? What do you need to know when you're talking to the owners? And I'm going to tell you, over the course of the last year of owning all these VAs, I mean, we have really fine-tuned our scripts. I'm telling you, they're so good. And I hope my students are using them. I don't know, but I'll share a couple with you guys. I'm speaking at the ISS, the International Self-Storage Association is in, their conference is in Vegas in April, and I'll be teaching there. So hopefully you guys come meet me in person. That'd be awesome. But I'll be teaching, the session is going to be how to get owners to accept your offer. That's really what I'm teaching on. But really, it's the scripts. It's the scripts that we're using and that we fine-tuned over the course of the last year. Really trying, it's how do you get the owner to listen to you? Not only on the sell side, so for them to sell to you, but also for them to also not on the phone, on the first step, which is getting them to listen to you, to say, yes, I do, I'll take an offer, yes, I'll give you all my information, but also on the yes, this is, I'll talk to you, or I'll, talk to you about this offer that you're giving me. So there's like these scripts that we have. I call them the magic scripts, is what I call it. So we have the magic letter, and the magic scripts. Okay. Only my students get access to those. Oh no, you know what? I put the magic letter into the course. And I put the scripts into the course as well too. I think, Ariel, I can't remember if we did. We can put them into the course. So if you buy the course, you'll have access to the magic scripts, or if you join the coaching program, you'll have access to the scripts. All right. Okay. Let me see. Okay, yeah. So this is like cold calling, is really getting getting the owner to say yes, they want an offer. Okay. And then we start compiling the Google Drive folder. All right, this actually, Ariel, this is a very good, this would be a very good find them session as well too. Is like one whole session on like, what do we put in the Google Drive folder? And then we basically, it's like everything that you need in order to make a decision on whether or not this deal is good goes into this folder. Okay, and I won't go in deep into that now, but I mean, essentially, like, you need to, like, all the information that you need in order to run deal analysis is going to go into that folder. And then also something like, like we use regrid, or we use like, how are the boundaries? What does the competition look like? Because you have to do a competitive analysis. What do the demographics of the area look like? This kind of stuff, right? So all the things that you need in order. Oh yeah, it's all right here. I'm saying right here. So county information, competition, deal analyzer, executive summary, video summary, regrid, maps, street view of the property, radius. Right. So all this kind of stuff here, you'll funnel it into the Google Drive folder, and then this will, like, everything that's in that folder is what you would need in order to make a decision on whether or not it's a good deal. And guess what? It's everything that a lender needs as well too. Oh, and outside of like tax returns and stuff like that. So tax returns, P&L, and balance sheet. Let's see, what else? Yeah, so everything that you need. And also, like, if you were going to wholesale a deal, it'd be everything that like the buyer for the wholesale deal needs as well too. So that's like the next step, is putting everything into the Google Drive report and getting all the necessary information. All right. And then you got to start work. Then you got to analyze the deal. Right. And then you got to analyze the deal. Whatever deal analyzer that you can use any deal analyzer. It doesn't have to be mine, but you have to use a deal analyzer that can run commercial deal analysis for storage facilities. That's what you need. Right. And so then you're going to start really looking at, like, what's the vacancy? What's the unit mix? What's the square footage? What's the purchase price? What does the competition look like? And do the competitive analysis. What are the unit mixes, and what's the price per square foot as is? And then what can you take it at? What's the value at? Right? How much if you can take it from 50 cents to 65 cents, or 32 cents to 70 cents, or whatever it is. You need to be able to show that, and you need to run numbers on that. And that's really what the deal analyzer is. The deal analyzer is it will show you the complete, visual outlook of like the property, right? From now and then also into the future. That's what the deal analyzer is for. Okay. And let's see. And then you review the deal, right? And so then you look at the deals. Okay, is this deal good or not? Well, this is what they do. They reveal it. We look at the deal and say, this is a good deal. Should we put an offer in on this? Or what should the offer? What should the offer be? Right? This is where you're making the offer. All right. And when we make our offer, we send over, and actually this is something I'm going to talk at ISS as well too about, but we send over, like, what do you give an owner when you're making an offer? And I'm going to tell you, calling up and saying, hey, I'll give you 700 grand is not the way to make an offer, right? Or emailing your offer and then just say, like, hey, I'll just pay 700 grand or whatever, right? You want to have like your offer letter Plus, you want to have like 4 different ways that you can, on your offer. And you want to have something that like shows the owner, why did you come up with this number? Right? Like how did you come up with this? And then you also want to have some sort of credibility, to them, right? And so we send over something that's like, this is Stacy Rossetti, and this is all the stuff that she's done. And take a look at this. You take a look at her and see what she's about. Take a look at the numbers, how we ran the numbers right here, and this is our offer, right? So that's like our whole set, the whole set. Okay, so it's not just like, oh, send over a text message or email or whatever, because your job is to convince the owner to sell it to you. All right, that's your job, right? And so that's kind of hard, so the more credible you are and the more you have it together, the more you seem like you know what you're doing, then the more likely the owner is going to want to talk to you. And what I do too is when we send over the offer, we always try to get them to meet me on Zoom. Like hey, like here's our offer, Stacy says, like, let's meet on Zoom and discuss it. Or like if you don't want to meet on Zoom, let me know. We could get you on Stacy's calendar and she could give you a call. All right, so we call, and they always email over and and then they also make sure that the owner gets the offer, right? Because it's happened before where like you send over an offer and then you never hear anything back. You're like, okay, they ghosted me. But then the truth is, like, they never got the offer. It's like they just got lost in all their emails or something. Okay. So that's kind of what that is. And then finally you get it under contract. All right, finally you get it under contract. And then guess what? Once you get it under contract, then the fun starts. You move on to the onboarding process. And we'll go over the onboarding process in the running portion. Is we'll go over all the steps that you do that during the onboarding. But you want to get it under contract, so that means you got to get the contract done, and and it's a whole like, and just going back and forth, and that just kind of takes. Sometimes it's easy and it gets done immediately, and sometimes it like goes back and forth. Like the one that we just did in Arkansas, it took like a month to close that thing because they got their attorney involved, and you know how attorneys are, they just get in there and it's like, it was a 2-page contract and now it's a 20-page contract. And so that one took forever. But then we have another one that we just got under contract in Utah. And like the owner, like, wait, I said, can we just send this over in DocuSign and you sign it? He said, yeah, sure. So we sent it in DocuSign and he signed it and it was done like in a day, so so that's just kind of it. So that's the whole process as well. But so that's the process that the VAs go through. That's the finding them all the way up to the funding them. I talked a little bit about the funding them today, right? I told you some of my stories on how we do stuff. And then the running part, we'll talk about that in like the last week of January. And I could either do onboarding or I could do whatever you guys want. If you got to use some suggestions, we could do that as well too. On the running part as well too. But that's basically, like, in a nutshell, that's like self-storage investing 101, how to get started, how to get into like what you need to be doing in order to get started right now. And getting started right now is obviously figuring out how you're going to find them. Are you going to go to Google Maps? Are you going to go to Craigslist, LoopNet? Are you going to build your own list? Right? I'd love to hear in the chat which of those you're going to do. How are you going to find your facilities for 2023, knowing that you have to find a lot of them in order to put a lot of offers in so that you can beat the numbers game, right? Because it's just a numbers game. Okay. All right. Okay, good. So that is it. So let's go. I have like a couple of minutes. I want it to be 5 minutes or so to do some questions. All right. So let me see. I'm going to try to find some questions here. Okay. So Kyle says, I set an LOI for a facility in South Carolina that's got 32 units and 2 1,800 square foot buildings. It's on 1.5 acres. It's in a tertiary market. It's mismanaged and needs some work. They're asking $275. How do I know if it's a good deal? Okay, so this is like the typical question that everybody asks me, and I get like random emails all the time. It's kind of annoying, actually. Like, you'll just send me over a deal and say like, hey, is this a good deal? So first of all, like, I'm not gonna just sit there and answer just all the time random people's questions and stuff. But the truth is that you need to analyze that deal. Like you can't just know, like look at a deal and know if it's good. You need to know what the annual income is. You need to know what the vacancy rate is. You need to know what the total square footage is, also the total number of units, the purchase price, and what the price per square foot is now, and what can you take it to. So what's the value add? Plus those two, that's just for the storage. You have to analyze those two commercial warehouses different from the storage because those are not the same. You can't put those together because it'll just skew the price per square foot, right? So you want to take those two warehouses out and you want to analyze those separately. What's the price per square foot? What's the amount, the income that they're making, and what can you take it to? And then you bring that together so that you can look at the whole entire deal by comparing the competitors and looking at all this stuff, and then you can decide if it's a good deal, right? So that is how you analyze something like that, okay? Okay, can your students hire your virtual assistants? Yes. Yes. So we have what's called turnkey acquisitions. I only offer it to my students. Once you get into the coaching program, you can hire one of my students to find you a deal. Okay. Are your VAs overseas? Yes, they're in the Philippines. Every single one of them is in the Philippines, and they are amazing. I have the best team of virtual assistants ever, and they're super loyal and they do an amazing job, and I'm very, very grateful to have them. And he says, is there any resistance from the owners? I mean, yeah, it's America, y'all. So like, and we're calling in like tertiary markets, and you know, so yeah, there are people that are just like, huh? Like they've never talked to like foreign people before and stuff. All right. So you know, so what we do is we, you know, like I said, we call, and then if it doesn't work, somebody else comes in and calls. And eventually one of them will click, right? One VA will click. Let me see what else. When do you do the full due diligence? When do you do full due diligence? Yeah, so we typically, the way that we do it, and it really just depends deal to deal. But like we get just like the basic stuff, like you saw, to do the deal and the deal analysis, and like then we'll make an offer. Like we're making offers quick. I mean, to sit there and do like to get the P&L, to get the balance sheet, to get all the stuff, I mean, it would take forever for the owners to do that. So just these 6 things is what we need right now. And then once you give those to me, rerun the numbers, then we're relying on these numbers to be correct. And that's what we're going off. Now, if the numbers don't show that this is correct, then obviously we're going to have to change our offer. Right. So are you going to be able to prove these numbers to me, the numbers that you give to me? Right. That's something that we would say to the owner. Okay. And in order to, you know, get the correct information. Let's see, is franchising a good option for buying? I mean, does anybody have a franchise? I know there are franchise companies out there. There's 2 different things that you could do. One is get a coach and do it yourself. And the second one is get a franchise, I guess. But like with the franchise, don't you do it yourself and then just have to pay all those fees? Why would you pay all those fees? I'm not quite understanding that, you know, so explain the franchise to me. I'm not sure. I would just learn, if you really want to own a storage facility, I would like learn it myself is what I would do. I would really just do it yourself. It's just as much work to do it and own it yourself than it is to do it with a franchise. What was the cap rate on the Utah purchase? 7 cap. We only buy 7 cap or higher. That's it. So that's another reason why we put a lot of offers in. It's because we only buy at 7 caps or higher. Okay. Let's see what else. Any other questions okay. Let me see. I don't see any other questions. Well, I think we're good, right? Anybody else? Oh, wait, here's one more question. Let me get this. Okay, we got that. Can I make a list from Crexy? Yes, you can make a list from Crexy. Yeah, you can only do, I think you can only do like 100 names or something, but you can pick an area and then you get the 100 and then you work that area and then you can go with another list and do another. But yes, you could do that. And then Radius, what info from Radius do you put in the drive? We put what we really look up in Radius is number 1, like permits. and like what's being built new in the area. So we want to know like is there like, we can have competition, lots of competition, this kind of stuff, what's being built. So the permits are really good from Radius. And then also the price per square, the net, so the price per, like, what is it? The net capita for the price per square foot. All right, the total net capita. So you want to be like between 6 and 8. So we look that up. That's what we're doing. That's what we look up in Radius as well too. We kind of look up competition, but sometimes we usually use Prexy for competition now because Radius seems to just be kind of like back, old and stuff, not pulling it. What are the 6 things you ask from the buyer? I already told you that. I already told all the 6 things to you. When do you get the facility into income? When do you get their facility info income? Yeah, so that's like if they want to move forward. If they want to move forward from our offer, then we say, okay, now that we're going to move forward, I'm going to get it under contract, and then you send me all the information so that I can take a look at everything. So us personally, for me, it's get the facility under contract, because the truth is there's a lot of y'all out there that want to buy it. Okay. And so the faster, and I'm telling you, everybody's calling everybody right now. So the faster you can be at getting something under contract, then you can give yourself some due diligence to actually look at the numbers and stuff. Okay. Now, in some instances, and I got to hop off and go to my pitch, but in some instances, like we have one person that was like, we offered 800,000 and he wanted 1.4 million. And so what we tell the owner is like, look, if you really want that, if you really want that amount of money, then you need to give us your P&L, balance sheet, and tax returns so that we can look at those and see if like what you're making is worth that much money, right? So if it's like super way off of what we would have offered, then we ask them to give the financial information as well too, and then we can maybe give a better offer based on their financial information. But overall, we're like all about just building the list, making the calls, and then getting it under contract is what it is. Making offers and then getting it under contract. Okay. All right. So that's good for today. I appreciate you guys hanging into the end. I'm going to hop onto my pitch. So it's the Self-Storage Fund of America. So if you want to be a passive investor and you're like, okay, Stacy, this is way too much work. I just want to invest my money in self-storage and I'll just let you do all the work. Then you go to stacyrossetti.com/fund, FUND. And I pitch right after this, and you can come listen to my fund and maybe put some money into that as well too. I'm trying to raise money right now on an amazing, amazing deal. It's a $1.4 million storage facility in prime Atlanta area, prime market Atlanta area. It's worth about $3.4 million. And all I have to do is raise rents. That's it. Okay, so I'm trying to raise the money for that. So hop on and listen to that as well too. All right, I appreciate you guys hanging in, and I will see you guys next week. Take care.
Thank you for joining us for this episode of Storage Nerds. Hope this informative conversation inspired you to go out there and jump into this highly profitable business venture that people rarely talk about. Get more tips on storage space investing at www.stacyrossetti.com. Don't forget to subscribe to the show and leave a rating. Together, let's build that thriving passive income one storage space at a time. Until next time.